Om Agyan Timidandasya Gyanangana Shalakaya Chaksunimilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadarmayam Dadanti Svapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Adhaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama. Thank you all for coming this evening. I'm very honored to be in such an august assembly of people from, well, according to your faces, I can see from all over the world. And you could say it's a miracle in one sense that this ancient tradition from India has spilled out of India and has gone to all the countries of the world. And one reason is the song you were singing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. One newspaper reporter, he described this as the Hare Krishna explosion. And it's a fact since I was 19, my birthday's in a few days, I'll be 77. I've been everywhere in the world. My guru gave me the instruction to travel and share this wonderful, joyful process of Krishna consciousness with the entire world. And everywhere I go, I see people attracted to this chanting. And to some, it may seem like some folk song from India, some lullaby, some whatever, they don't know. But actually, it's a very special sound vibration. It's described in the ancient texts of India. Golok Prem Dhan, Harinam Shankirtan. This is Bengali. That this chanting of Hare Krishna, it's not necessarily come from India. It's appeared in India, but it actually descends from the spiritual world. Just like many of you have heard of the Ganges River, famous, the Ganges River in India. It's considered a sacred river because according to the rishis, the yogis, the mystics, the saints in India, it comes from the spiritual sky. There's a leak in the spiritual world, a purposeful leak. And Mother Ganges, she comes down through the higher planetary systems, through the middle planetary systems where the Earth is situated, and down to the lower planetary systems, all the while purifying people's existence. It looks like material water, but it's surcharged with spirituality. So therefore, if you go to India, you'll see many people live on the banks of the Ganges. Wealthy people, prestigious, politicians, entertainers, they'll have a little home next to the Ganges. And whenever they can, they go to live there and they bathe regularly in the Ganges. Because it's said that by bathing in the Ganges, all the karma that we have accumulated for many lifetimes, because this is not our first lifetime. This is like a chapter in our greater book of life. No book has one chapter. There's different chapters. So in your existence, not just this one life, but your existence, Brahmanda Brahmatikram Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasad Bhai Bhakti Lat Bij. Since we fell from grace, from the spiritual world, our original home, into the material world, we've been transmigrating from Brahmanda to Brahmanda. In Sanskrit, it means universe to universe, from species of life to species of life, and from body to body. So we've accumulated, due to our pious activity and our bad activity, we've accumulated the good, bad, and the ugly. And as a result, we're carrying a lot of baggage. We have karma. It's a very popular word today, karma. Most people understand. I just came from Australia, and I said, how do I explain karma to the people here? So my friend said, they have an expression, what goes around comes around. Like a boomerang. So what you do comes back to you. So we're carrying the results of pious activities. We've helped a lot of little old ladies off the street. If we were wealthy in previous lives, we've given in charity, we've done good deeds, but by the influence of the material energy, which is very powerful, sometimes we slip and fall, and we do the bad things, and we do the ugly things. So our hearts are full of these reactions, and our life actually, they kind of come out as we live our lives, these karmic reactions, they come out. We all experience the good, the bad, and the ugly. But this Ganges River, if you bathe in that river, we say in Sanskrit, Cheto Dharmana Marjanam. By bathing in that sacred river from the spiritual world, it looks material, but Phalina Parichate, in Sanskrit, you judge something by the result. So if you bathe in that river regularly, you become purified of these reactions. Cheto Dharmana Marjana, it says they flow from your heart to a distant place. Just like when you take a shower, I just took a shower before I came here. So hot here in London. And I could see the dirt going in the drain. So someone who bathes in that river can experience this lightheartedness, that this karma, these obstacles to life, they just flow away. So this mantra comes from the same place. Golok Prem Dan Harinam Shankirtan. As this, of course, a scientist, a materialistic person, this is all just, whatever. But it's a fact. Great rishis, great yogis, jnanis, I've met them. They see these things with their spiritual vision. The river comes, and it's spiritual, and people become purified. So this mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, it comes from the same place. It descends. It's a sound vibration which comes from the spiritual world. And there is a spiritual world. Paras tasmatu bhavanyo vyakto vyakta shanatana. This book, Bhagavad Gita, explains that paras tasmatu bhavanyo vyakto vyakta sanatana. That sometimes this material world is manifest, it's the greater picture, and sometimes it's unmanifest, and then it's manifest again. But the spiritual world's eternal. Everything is eternal there, and full of bliss and full of knowledge. But how can we really believe in that world? Because real people come from there. In every bona fide spiritual tradition, and there are many spiritual traditions in this world, whatever you feel comfortable with, you practice that tradition. We like this tradition because it's singing and dancing and feasting and substantiated by good philosophy, that if you, in that spiritual tradition, you'll find saints and sages. Any spiritual tradition. I was born in the Christian tradition. I still hold very dear Saint Francis of Assisi. I'm a Hare Krishna, but I have a picture of him because, he was vegetarian. And when I was young, I was so attracted, and he called the deer his mothers, he called the bears his sisters, he called the ducks his cousins. He had this vision of equality, the true equality of all spiritual beings. So in every tradition, you'll find saintly persons. They're not like you and me. They're extraordinary. There's ordinary people like you and me, and there's extraordinary persons. And they're proof that a spiritual world actually exists. So this chanting comes from there. So it's in our interest, because we also came from there. We're not British, American, Spanish, German, Japanese. These are all temporary designations to a body which is here today and gone tomorrow. We're actually deep spiritual beings. And this mantra is of our interest. It seems a little foreign, but actually it's a universal process of becoming self-realized. And as you become self-realized, one of the qualities of a self-realized person is he becomes happy. I didn't see anyone lamenting, crying, angry, confused. You were all raising your hands. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare. This helps, this mantra goes very deep into the heart. And it wakens us up to who we actually are. That's important. What do we call that? We call that the science of self-realization. The science, it's a science. It can be proved. It can be demonstrated, like science. The science of self-realization. It begins with those perennial questions. Perhaps some of you here sitting tonight, at some point in your life, those perennial questions have come to mind. Who am I? Where have I come from? Why am I suffering? What happens at death? Does God exist? These are questions that only a human being can answer. There's 8,400,000 species of life in this whole cosmic manifestation. 8,400,000. I think our scientists have discovered, when I took in high school, of course, 3,250,000 species. But the wisdom of the sages, wisdom of Krishna in this book, Bhagavad Gita, from Krishna himself, the source of all beings, he says 8,400,000. So that means, on a side note, there must be life on other planets. Maybe not life as we know it, but some form of life, perhaps even higher consciousness than ourselves. So 8,400,000 species. But the Vedas say that the human form of life is the most valuable. We can take a little pride in that. We're human beings. We don't think are better than other species, we're just more fortunate. And what is the blessing that we have in the human form of life? In Sanskrit it's called buddhi. You've heard of Buddha? Buddha means the intelligent one or the enlightened one. And we all have a little Buddha in us. We have that intelligence. More intelligent, the most foolish human being is more intelligent than the most intelligent animal. We have this intelligence. It's a gift from nature. It's a gift from God, this intelligence, and it's been given to us for a purpose. This intelligence, which we've used to, iPhones and internet and technology and science, we've done wonders with this intelligence. But according to the rishis, the yogis, the sages, that intelligence has been given to every human being for a higher purpose. And it must be noted. You can be whoever you are, but you also have to take advantage of the intelligence to go within and discover your deeper spiritual nature. That's the ultimate reason for our intelligence. No other animal, insect, bird can do it. Just like if you have a high-paying job, if you don't do it properly, you're demoted. So if you don't take advantage of the human form of life for self-realization, to go within and understand your deeper spiritual nature, in your next life you may be demoted to a lower species of life. Cats and dogs and birds are not machines. They're also spirit souls, but they're covered so they can't ask these questions. So we can, every human being. We can understand our deeper spiritual nature. And actually that's the first step in yoga. Besides the asanas, besides the peacefulness, tranquility that comes, the deeper purpose of going within is discover that dynamic spiritual nature. Within this body, there's a spiritual energy. Within this body, there's a spark of life. Within this body, there's a soul. We call it Atman in Sanskrit. And that's who you actually are. This is like revolutionary in Western culture. As I travel, I speak to, it's true, kings and queens and paupers, and I speak to everybody. And I always ask that question, the first step in the science of self-realization. Sir, Your Highness, the queen, the pauper, the businessman, who are you? And inevitably, each time I say that, oh, Swamiji, here I am. I mean, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? This is me. Here I am. I see myself in the mirror every morning. I talk to myself in the mirror. How are you looking today? Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? You are, thank you. But we very much identify with the body. Very much so. But are we the body? You think about it, the body is made of matter, skin, bones, blood, urine, saliva. I don't want to go too many details. That's the body. But all these elements that constitute my body are material. Now you look around the room, there's so many material things made of the same elements, composed in different ways, but it's all matter. But is anything material conscious? Is anything material alive? We have these lights, we have this rug, we have the floor, we have your clothes. There's so many material things, but none of them are conscious and none of them are living. We say dead matter. It's a common thing, dead matter. Matter doesn't have life. So we get back to the body. What's it made of? The same stuff. It's exactly the same stuff, the body. So the body's not conscious. It's not living, it's material. On the way here, I met a doctor, and he looked at me and said, "Where are you coming from?" I said, "The same place from you in the spiritual world." "Oh, hugbug," he said. And then we got into a conversation talking like this, these simple steps in the science of self-realization. Who am I? He said, he said, "Old man," he said, "You're right, because in medical science, we say the body is 70%, 72% water." Now, here we're talking science. The body is 72% water. That's why on a hot day, when you perspire, you have to drink more. If you get dehydrated, you can get sick. So I ask you, is that you? That body is I'll put it very simply, a bag of water. Some bulges here, some hairs here, make it more pretty, and muscles and whatever, But are you, by definition of medical, are you that bag of water? Water is not conscious. You're not the body. You're the active principle within the body, like a car. Give a simple analogy. There's a car. It can be a Porsche, it can be a Beamer, BMW, but it means nothing unless there's a conscious driver to move it. So think of it like that in this first lesson. The body's a machine made of material energy by the greatest scientists, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We say Krishna. There's many names for the divine, but we say Krishna. It means the all-beautiful one. He created this machine made of material energy, the body, in which the driver, the soul, is residing. This is revolutionary, but really, if you go to India, this is ABCs for people. When you talk about your body, you don't say I hand, I arm, I head, I body. That means you don't know English. There's two English. There's American English and British English. Tomato and a tomato. Potato and a potato. I don't know how you say it here. But you don't say I hand, I arm, I head. It's my hand. It's my arm. It's my head. Who's the me? Hey, stop. Look around. We're so busy like bees in the hive, with our different responsibilities. That's fine. But sometimes you have to stop and think. And if you don't have that depth of knowledge, you can read books like Bhagavad Gita, which is the PhD in the science of self-realization. That's why so many Western people are going to India these days, to understand these deeper truths. So it's the Atma, it's the soul that gives life to the body. That's who we are. Like when grandma passes away, or grandpa, she was your grandmother your whole life, but she's lying there and you say, "Oh, mommy, grandma's gone." What do you mean? There's the body. You thought she was the body your whole life, and now you're saying she's gone. What's gone? Most people don't know. But we have to know, because we have the buddhi. Whether we're Chinese or African or German, we have to search for this. Because if you don't know who you are, you won't know how to live your life in such a way as to find the happiness we're all looking for, to find the peacefulness that we're all looking for. And we're all looking for those things. If we don't have this deeper understanding, we'll be like a man. I had a friend one time when I was 14, I remember. His dad, we were walking down the street in San Francisco, and we passed a pet shop, and there was a bird cage. You know how they advertise the animals sometimes, they're in cages outside. So it was this beautiful parrot, but this cage was extraordinary. I can still remember it. I was like, wow, that cage is amazing. So my friend's father, he saw the cage, and he wanted it. And you could hear the bird. But he didn't hear the bird. He just saw the cage. So he went inside. He asked how much the cage was. It was $900. So my friend's father said, $900 for a cage? So I was there. The owner said, sir, the bird in the cage is the main cost. He said, my friend's father said, why is the cage so expensive? And the owner said, the bird. No, why is the cage so expensive? He was so enamored by the cage, he didn't see the bird. It's a true story. He bought it. In those days, 900 was like 2,000 these days. And he took it home, and they lived not far from me down the street. And I used to go with my friends, and we'd see and his father was like, he decorating the cage, and he put all kinds of like flowers and ribbons, he was intoxicated. And he wasn't feeding the bird. And one day we came, 2 weeks later, the bird was dead. And he only realized that when it smelled so bad, he opened the cage and saw So actually we're laughing at ourselves because we give so much attention to this cage. Remember, it's not conscious, it's not living, it's just dead matter. But the driver's the soul. It's the soul. So this is the responsibility of human birth. Atato Brahma Jignasya, Vedanta Sutra. There's so many books in India, but they're summarized. Elegance is truth spoken concisely. So Vedanta Sutra, I know you probably don't know it, but it's a summary of all the Vedic knowledge. And the first verse, Atato Brahma Jignasya. Now that you've arrived at the human form of life, what is your business? Inquire. You don't have to be a monk like me with a shaved head and living a very simple life. You can be whoever you are. You don't change your position, but you add this wisdom, this universal truth. This is not Indian philosophy. This comes from the spiritual world. It's a wake-up call, the ultimate wake-up call. Wake up. Who am I? First things first. Before life begins, you should understand who you are. Then you can know what decisions to make in life. First things first. I remember when I was young, like what, 7 or 8, on Sundays, no school, so I'd wake up and I'd always run to the front door to go out and play with my friends. My mom had a hard time getting me up for school, but on Sundays, I got up early to go out and play with my friends. So she'd be standing at the door, and I'd try to run out, and she'd grab me by the back of my neck. Son, what, Mom? First things first, go make your bed. This went on for months when I was 7 or 8. So even today, if you see where I'm sleeping, perfect bed. There's not a wrinkle in my bed. The pillow's there. People think I'm crazy. What are you doing? My mom told me to make my bed. Yeah, but that was 50 years ago. Yeah, but, some discipline in my life. Bless her soul, my mom. So I'm using that as an analogy. First things first. First thing on your bucket list of life is to know who you are. So you are that dynamic soul. So what? I met one yogi in the Himalayas like 18 months ago. He said, the soul is more brilliant than 10,000 suns rising simultaneously. What? Do I look like a sun rising? I'm trying to become enlightened, but the soul, if you could see it, is more brilliant than 10,000 suns rising simultaneously. These analogies are important. And what's more, I was reading today in the Bhagavad Gita. You should all get a copy of this book today. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Na yovanam cha. The soul is eternally youthful. Wow. what was it, Peter Pan? I'll never grow up, I'll never grow up, not me. And in previous centuries, isn't it, I read in school, there were explorers looking for the fountain of youth. I mean, really, give me a break. Intelligent men were riding these wooden ships across these dangerous oceans to go to places like Florida. In America, we have a state called Florida. It's basically the Everglades. It's full of crocodiles and pythons. And Ponce de Leon, I don't know how to remember this. I hope I don't remember this at the moment of death. Ponce de Leon, he came from, I think, Portugal or Spain. He's an intelligent man, aristocratic with lots of money. And the king gave him, because the king also wanted to, live forever, never die. It's natural because the soul never dies, but they're looking in the wrong way. So he went to the Everglades, and he looked and he looked, and he couldn't find the fountain of youth, and he died. All those explorers, everyone dies. There's two things guaranteed. Well, one thing's guaranteed when you're born. You're going to die. You can be sure of that. So they're looking for this fountain of youth, but the fountain of youth is there in our eternal nature. We're eternally youthful. In the spiritual world, there's no birth, there's no disease, there's no old age, and there's no death. So it's imperative for everyone to take advantage of this knowledge. It appears in India, because India, I live half my life there. It's a very pious country. I love the people because they're very spiritual, just in general. Of course, it's kind of changing nowadays with Western influence, but we all have this ability to go within. So there's the soul in the body. How much do you know about the real you? If I call you up here, put the microphone up and say, talk about your body, the car, the cage, you can go on. Swami, I'm 6'3", I have blonde hair, blue eyes, and I work out at the gym, I look at my muscles, and I have this, you can go on and on about your body. The car, okay, we're not the car, we're not the body, but we should take care of the body because it's a vehicle of self-realization. So the yoga asanas are actually good. But if I say, speak about the driver, speak about the bird, speak about the soul, you'll go, Mum, you won't know. So how advanced is our modern civilization? We pride ourselves in our scientific advancement, medical advancement, space. It's all good. I'm not against it, but not at the expense of the science of self-realization, which is the ultimate duty of a human being. So the doctor, I said, I have to go to a program. He said, I have some questions. He said, Swami, if we're not the body, how the hell did we get in this body? He said, you can quote me. I said, well, I don't want to use the bad word, but I'm quoting him anyway. How did we get in this body? I mean, this is how the mind should think. Not scrolling through the internet with all these mundane subject matters. Use the intelligence for a higher purpose. If I'm not this body, how did I get here? Everything's explained in Bhagavad Gita. Perfect questions and perfect answers. This is how I became attracted as a young man to the Bhagavad Gita. I was searching for something spiritual. I was in the military during the Vietnam War, and I joined, my father encouraged me to join, do something for the country and stop communism in Southeast Asia. So I joined America's topmost fighting unit, Marine Corps, like special services. And I was the platoon commander in boot camp. And, we were like, to describe it, we were ready to kill. And we were really trained. I was a sniper. And the unit was meant to ship off to Da Nang in Vietnam. There was a big battle going on there with the Viet Cong. And before we boarded the plane, the camp commander came to me. He said, Mr. Tibbets, you stay back. I said, well, why? I want to go. You trained me. I'm a killer. I want to go. He said, no, we want you to go to advanced infantry training. underwater demolition. And no, I want to go. Stay back. So my unit shipped off, and a unit was 25 men, platoon, and 12 of those men were my best friends. We grew up from 7 years age to through high school. We were the best football team in California. We won the state championship. We were tight, real tight friends, blood brothers. And 3 days later, the commander comes to my room. I'm studying, all this. He said, "Young man, sit down. I got to tell you something." I knew something was off. So he sat down. He said, "Look," put his arm around me. He said, "I'm really sorry to tell you that your unit, your platoon, was ambushed yesterday. A double ambush, which means that the enemy's on the lower hill and a higher hill, and they shoot down like this so they don't shoot and kill each other. It's a type of ambush. Your unit, all your friends were killed in combat." I was raised in a good family, wealthy family. I was well educated. I had nothing to worry. That was the first tragedy I ever experienced and I fell apart. PSTD, post-traumatic stress symptom, which your soldiers get in battle. I had it before the battle. I just fell apart, and they discharged me. So you're not useful to us anymore. And I was my friends. Why? How did it happen? So I went back to San Francisco, and I didn't want to go home because that wasn't who I was before I was a hippie. And then I became a soldier, like really confused. Who am I? What is life? Where did my friends go? If there's God, why is there so much? So I went to the store. I bought a Bible, a Quran, a Torah, and the Lotus Sutras of Buddha. And I went to the Sierra Nevada mountains. I was 18, 19, young boy. I rented a cabin. For 11 months, I stayed in that cabin, and I read those books, each 3 times. Bible, Quran, Torah, and I learned a lot. Something was missing, with all due respect. To make a long story short, later on, I met a devotee on the street. Like maybe some of you met a devotee on the street. And that's why you're here tonight. He had this book. When I saw it, I said, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita. He said, "Good try." He said, "In this book you'll find the answers to all your questions." And he said that phrase, perfect questions and perfect answers. Before that, I had no interest. But I've seen in my life, from all the people I've met, at some point in our lives, sometimes in the youth, sometimes in middle age, there's this awakening. There has to be, because material life doesn't give all the answers. It doesn't give us the happiness. We say in Russian, chut-chut, or Hindi, toda. There's something there, but it's a mixed bag. It's like you have your ice cream cone on the beach, and then the ice cream falls in the sand, and you put it back on the cone. You're getting the ice cream, but there's the crunch. So you know as well as everyone has their story. So if something doesn't work, you try to fix it, but if you can't fix it, you find an alternative. And that's Krishna consciousness. Back to the spiritual world, where every word is a song, every step is a dance, and there's a festival like this every day, and I'm not exaggerating. That is the spirit. Love reigns supreme in the spiritual world. That's where we're meant to go at the end of this life. So these questions arise at some time, and that's why you're sitting here, but 3 million people in the city are not sitting here. Because you're like a lotus flower. In India, we have the lotus flowers. You may not know, but the lotus flower closes at night. And in the dawn, it begins to open. And by high noon, the flower is fully open. So for some reason or not, maybe something happened in your life that's caused you to search. Maybe you're just curious. Maybe you're looking for knowledge. Maybe you just stumbled across this program and came down the stairs and what am I doing here? But this is an important step in your life. You can be like that lotus flower opening if you read this Bhagavad Gita. All answers are there. So how did we get in this body? Well, at the moment of conception, when mom and dad are trying to conceive a child, they're not creating life. We're discussing how little we know about life here. So what's mom and dad? They're not creating life. By that attempt of conception, the sperm unites with the ovum. And by destiny, by material nature, by the desire of the divine, the supreme, by God, the soul is placed into that secretion. Life doesn't come from chemicals. No scientist has ever taken chemicals and produced consciousness, produced life. Life comes from life. So the soul is actually there from the moment of conception. Otherwise, how does the embryo grow? Dead things don't grow. Only living things grow. So as long as the soul stays in that embryo, it grows. Like the car. As long as the driver's in the car can move. Driver gets out, car stops. So the secretion of the embryo is there, but it's the conscious soul within it that makes it grow. And then there's birth, and then there's childhood. And as long as the soul stays in the car, in the cage, as long as the soul stays in the body grows, and we get to old age, and then what happens? There's death. Ooh, I hope Swami doesn't talk about death. I didn't come to this program to hear about death. Well, when I was a Boy Scout, our motto was be prepared. I never had any danger, but I went to all these courses in the forest, with bears come, or if there's a fire, fall in the river. But at least I understood the principle, be prepared. So time and tide wait for no man or woman. It's going to come someday. So then what's next? Life is short, really. I'm 77. It seems like 7 days passed in my life. You can have that experience. So one day, this machine's going to break down, like all machines. And then what? We don't want to be like the ostrich. I was in Zimbabwe not long ago, and we went out to see going somewhere, a nature park, and there are all these ostriches. And you're allowed to hunt them there because there's so many of them. We don't agree, but to keep the herds down, people go and shoot them, and they get money for it. Anyway, I saw there was an ostrich, and the hunter was coming. He was maybe 50 meters away, pointing his gun. So what did the ostrich do? He dug a hole in the ground, and he put his head there. And I was told that's what they do. When there's danger, when there's a threat, they just try to disbelieve it. They dig a hole, and they put their head there. Everything's okay now. So we don't want to be like that. We know that death is going to come, but we don't want to ignore it. We should face it fearlessly with knowledge. So what happens at death? This is a secret, no one knows, but here it's very clearly explained. Dehinosmin yata dehe komanam yovanam jara tata tiantaraspaptir dhiras tatra nimuyanti. As the embodied soul passes from the body of a baby to a boy, to a youth, to middle age, to old age, as we're changing bodies, right? The soul stays the same, but the body changes. And I told that to the doctor. He said, this is really interesting, sir. We learned in science, medical science, that every 7 years, all the cells in the body change. Now, I'm not speaking from Gita. I'm speaking from logic, reasoning, science. Every 7 years, that's like you see the old photographs, you're changing. But what's changing? The body, but not the driver. So as the soul is transmigrating from body to body in this lifetime, if you're 21, you've changed your body 3 times. Have you died 3 times? Have you become 3 different persons? No, you're the same person. It's like changing clothes. Now you have your street clothes. Tonight you put on your pajamas. Tomorrow you might put on shorts in the morning. People put on shorts here when it's 9 degrees. I've seen it. I've seen it all. And then it gets really cold, and then you put on, so you're changing clothes, but does that change you? So changing bodies doesn't change you. Every 7 years, you have a different body. So the same principle holds true. When you die, the soul is not, soul's ever existing. It doesn't die. It's eternal. And if you still have some material desires, and we have plenty of them, then Mother Nature gives you another chance. You take birth again. It's called reincarnation. Reincarnation is not something spiritual. It's just a subtle law of material nature. A subtle law of material nature. That you leave this body and you enter into the womb of a new mother, next chapter of life, like I described in the beginning. Different chapter in the book of life. And how long has this been going on? Since time immemorial. This is not our first life. That's very naive. So many lives. My spiritual master said to one of my godbrothers, Vishnu John Maharaj, he personally told me this story. Prabhupada said that if we accept this fact from the ancient scriptures, from the yogis, the rishis, who are the most enlightened people on this planet, actually, with all due respect, if we accept that, Prabhupada said, that means we've been there and we've done everything. You've been in every species of life. In the human form of life, you've been a king, a queen, a poor man, an ignorant person, a carpenter, a banker, or this or that. You've done all that, if you look at it mathematically, for time immemorial. We've done all these things. And Prabhupada said, are you happy? Are you santushti in Sanskrit? Are you completely satisfied? And Maharaj said, he said to my spiritual master, no. You've been there, you've done that, and over and over and over and over. Are you? He said, no. So he said, give this one life to self-realization. Just make an experiment. As you've had so many lifetimes previously, you will have so many lifetimes in the future unless you get it together. So just make an experiment. Give this one life to the science of self-realization, which in this age, there's a concession. It's not like previous ages. We have to live in a cave and, and be like this. Just be here. But add this mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, Hare Rama. There's a concession. In every age, creation goes through different ages, like the year goes through different seasons. So the creation goes through different ages, and the bad news is this is the worst age, and it's getting more worse. Just, read the news. So, we're very unfortunate. We don't live very long. Due to the influence of material energy, our memory is not so good. Our qualities are diminished by bad association, etc., etc. But despite that fact, there's a concession for this age. Krishna makes a concession because the purpose of life is still the same as it was in days of yore. So all you have to do is live a clean life, simple living with high thinking, give up, bad habits, sinful things like meat eating, intoxication, gambling, etc. like that. That's not very helpful. Become disciplined. The word disciple comes from the word discipline. Learn a life of discipline by associating with the members of our movement here who are practicing these things in the big city of London, not some cave in the Himalaya. And try this chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. If it was just a mundane song, how have I been singing it for 54 years? For 54 years, I've been chanting Hare Krishna on my meditation beads every morning for 2 to 3 hours. And for most of my life, I've been going on the streets of, Moscow and Beijing and London and Rio de Janeiro and Adelaide, singing the same song. But I never get tired of it. I get more attached to it. And I can feel the purification. And ultimately, it awakes how could you say, a seed in the heart, like a golden seed, which is, we say prema, it's love. Love for the divine, love for the supreme, love for the supreme personality of God, love for, we say Krishna, means the all beautiful Lord. We all have an eternal, intimate relationship with him, which we've lost it, we have spiritual amnesia. But in that relationship, all your desires are fulfilled. Spiritual desires. And what's the greatest pleasure in spiritual life? Love. Even in this world, right? What's the highest pleasure? It's love. If you have everything, but you don't have someone to love, you can't be happy. Loneliness is the worst pain. If you have all the material things, the 1%, you don't have someone to share it with, husband, a wife, children, friends, relatives, country. But if you have nothing but the shirt on your back, but you have love, you can be happy. I've seen it. In the favelas, you know favela? We have any Brazilian people? The favelas of Sao Paulo, a region, I go there. I live with the people there. I've seen the poorest people. If they have someone to love, they're happy. I go to South Africa. I stay with the Zulus. The Zulus, I have many friends in the Zulus, and they live in huts, and very poor. They sleep on the ground. It's a little warm there, but still they sleep on the ground. And they have nothing, but they have a nice father, mother, brother, sister, lover. Their happiness is there. So a real happiness is there in love. But love here, it's a sad story, Romeo and Juliet. Even if you've got the perfect astrology and there's no problems in the marriage, somebody dies ultimately. This is a hard talk. So our desire to love must be reposed in something eternal, in some eternal relationship. And that relationship that's there with Krishna. Krishna is real. He's not imagination. He's not some poet's thing or some philosopher's dream. Self-realized souls have described God as Krishna. There's pictures of Krishna here. I hope everywhere there's pictures of Krishna. He has a form. He's very beautiful. Long black cascading hair, lotus eyes to his ears, nose like sesame flower, lips red like bimba fruit, teeth like rows of pearls. Very beautiful, very handsome. He plays a flute. We have the flugel. This is the flugel. And the flugel made the kirtan so nice. We've got a saxophone here. This is a reincarnation of, what's his name? Huh? John Coltrane. This is a reincarnation. Give him a big round of applause. But, when I was young, I was an altar boy, and I kept telling the priest, I said, can you tell me something about God? He's up there. And if you're bad, you go down there. And with all due respect, I said, but how am I going to love someone I know nothing about? Why did you choose your boyfriend? Why did you choose your girlfriend? The way they walk, the way they talk, their little humor here and there, their education, the way they dress, you like the same music. It's love is in the details. So to understand the absolute truth, the source from which everything has come, including ourselves, in which we have an eternal relationship, we have to know who he is, how we can love him. This is the beauty of India. This is the beauty of the Bhagavad Gita. It's like a PhD study in the science of self-realization. And that's why this book is so popular all over the world, because people are searching for these answers. So that's a little bit of our philosophy. Again, if something doesn't work, you have to look for an alternative. And the alternative to this materialistic way of life, which goes chapter after chapter after chapter after chapter, not satisfying, is to take up a spiritual process. And again, I say, because when I travel in Europe, I stay with the Franciscan monks. When I go to Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, I stay with the Muslim imams. We're friends. We don't argue over the little details. We have the same goal. When I go to Nepal or Bhutan, I stay with the Buddhist monks. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme, and I'm going, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But it's like a symphony, right? Someone's in an airplane, Jesus Christ, please help. Muslims, Allah Akbar, and the Hare Krishna. So it seems like a difference, but see it more like an orchestra. In orchestra, you have many instruments. You have the flugel, you have the saxophone, you have the flute, you have the oboe. I'm not really a musician, so I don't know, but they're all playing something different, but under the direction of the maestro, it comes like one beautiful song. So the whole world can live together peacefully if we understand what we have in common. We have our differences, our land of birth, the color of our skin, our sex. We have so many differences, and we're fighting over the differences. But if there's any hope for peace, we have to understand what we have in common. And that is we're all spirit souls. We're all equal with the same opportunity. This is the spiritual formula. We can maintain our differences. I often say, culturally many, but spiritually one. So this Hare Krishna movement is not just some yoga club. It's a dynamic spiritual movement, you could say, for the rejuvenation of human society, the purpose of life, to become self-realized. And you unite the people of the world because you are the world, we are the people. And we feel like one family, no arguing, nothing. When we sing together, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. The beauty of this Vedic culture, this Hare Krishna movement, it's not sentimental. There's deep happiness, there's singing, there's laughing, there's joking even. It's all there. It's not sentimental. It's based on a very sound spiritual philosophy. Like I've spoken tonight. I can go on for hours. Sometimes they pull me off the stage. But I've given you enough that you can understand this is deep knowledge. On the foundation of this knowledge, we can make steps forward on the spiritual path. So I would recommend, if I've said anything this evening that, made you more curious or started you thinking, or if I said something that touches your heart, touches your soul, then look at our books. I haven't made anything up. I'm just repeating with hopefully a little realization. Take a copy of Bhagavad Gita. It's 700 verses of wisdom, books pregnant with knowledge. And our spiritual master, the founder of our Hare Krishna movement, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, my spiritual master, he was so kind that for each verse, he wrote a purport for Westerners. When I first got it, I couldn't make sense of anything. But then I read now I get it. And anyone can get it. It may seem a little, complex in the beginning, but the purports that our spiritual master gives makes this book very precious. And I've been reading it for 54 years, and I still haven't understood everything. It's so deep. And I'm still searching. Seek and ye shall find. So if you have any spiritual questions, if you just have an inclination, take this book. Of course, it's an investment, but you can keep it with you as you travel, or you live here in London, a little bit you can read every day. And do try, it's only 3 words, Hare Krishna and Rama. It's magical. It really is. You get a deeper spiritual experience by chanting Hare Krishna. And so we'll conclude this evening with little old me croaking here with this instrument. And I would ask you to please just give it a try. It's like if I have a jar of honey. Whoa, this honey, Manuka honey from New Zealand. The potency 100, or I don't know what it's up to now, 800. This Manuka honey, it's so sweet. And you take the jar and you lick around the jar. What's that? You're so close to the taste, but you could be a million miles away. So if I say there's a history behind this chanting. In India, there's great yogis, great rishis. They've been chanting, their forefathers. It's nothing new. And as we say, the Yuga Dharma, it is the process in this age. It will, even if you're not very philosophically inclined, if you can't read, you just chant. And it's like the darkness turns into light. The ignorance turns into truth. And the conditioned soul becomes self-realized. It's a special grace, like Shakespeare said, mercy. It falleth from heaven like a gentle rain upon those below. That's my experience. I was just a dumb kid. I hardly graduated. I was a surfer. I hardly graduated. Actually, my friend at the graduation ceremony in high school, he went in my behalf and took my graduation paper, and he came to the beach. We were both surfers, and I was catching a wave, and he came by and he gave me my high school graduation paper. I just threw it in this wave, and so I'm not very well educated, but Raja Vidya Raja Guyam. This knowledge is the king of education. Not that one shouldn't be educated. One should be educated. One should have a career, a family, everything. But we should be like sailors on the ocean. In the old days, they had the wooden ships. So one sailor, he was famous because, he could read the sextant and know where he was on the ocean. He could varnish the wood, polish the brass. Everyone respected him as a responsible sailor. But as he was crossing the ocean, he was always a little uncomfortable because he never thought, I'm not a creature of this water. I'm a creature of land. And there's always the danger that this ship can capsize. So although he was going through his life as a responsible person, he always kept his mind on the goal, land. There's that classic. He said, land ho! So we should be like that. We should get a good education. We should be responsible. We should have our family. We should have our society. We have our country. We should be concerned about the environment because we want to leave it nice for our grandchildren, great-grandchildren. That's all okay. But we're not creatures of this world. We're spiritual. We're not material. And we are meant to reach the land. We're meant to reach the spiritual world. So we go through life but in our heart of hearts, land ho, we're thinking of the spiritual world as we're going. So as we do our very dharma, our different activities, we find time for self-realization. My dad was a businessman. He taught me, of course I never took up business, so he said, son, you invest your money in something you get the most return. That's what I remember. So by chanting Hare Krishna, all the karma goes from the heart. All these material desires, which are like roots in a tree that keep us bound to material life, birth after birth, they're uprooted. And ultimately, if you chant, that chanting will purify you. One day you'll realize your identity of the spiritual world. You'll see Krishna. He's not some poetic thing. He's a person. You'll see him. And at the moment of death, instead of taking another reincarnation, you'll go to where your heart takes you. You go back to the spiritual world. And that's the perfection of life. Not all these other designations, a famous movie star, a great athlete, no, that comes and goes. The goal is to get out of here. If the house is on fire, you get out. So this world's on fire with birth, disease, old age. Let's get out, even in the modern age. Just take time every day to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Buy a Bhagavad Gita. If you can't do it tonight, come back again. Chant Hare Krishna and associate with these transcendentalists. These devotees are in this world, but not of this world, like the lotus flower. I've seen in India many times. When I do my chanting and my meditation beads, I'll go to a lake, and I see the lotus flowers. And the other day I realized the lotus flower's in the lake, but it's not in the lake. So my friend said, "Are you okay, Maharaj?" So look, the stem of the lotus flower is in the muck, the silt at the bottom of the lake, right? But the stem comes up, and then there's the pod, there's the leaves. And a little bit above the leaves is the flower. Actually, it's very interesting. The flower floats on the leaves, but the flower is above the leaves. So I thought, that's what I want to be like. In this world, but not of this world. And if you go very deep in your spiritual life, just by spending an hour a day chanting Hare Krishna with your friends or yourself like that, you'll go so deep, believe me, nothing in this world will disturb you. This modern society is stress and anxiety and troubles and worries and doubts, But if you go very deep in spiritual life, you won't be affected. like the ocean. All, by nature's way, all the rivers end up in the ocean. In India, we have the Ganges and the Saraswati, and they all end up in the ocean, everywhere. So many powerful rivers are coming into the ocean, but the ocean remains still. Why? Because it's deep. It's deep. So whatever river comes, remains. So if you get deep in spiritual life, just by this, I know it sounds simplistic, but nice things come in small packages. If you chant this mantra every day, and you've had a taste of how sweet it is, and you can keep chanting, and now you have some philosophy to back it up, and if you read Bhagavad Gita, if you become deep, you'll be above the stress, the anxiety, the doubt, the fear. You'll be like a sage. You'll be equipoised in this world of birth and death. And if you make progress like that, at the moment of death, your consciousness will be very elevated, not degraded by bad association, bad habits, and sinful activities, but you'll live simple life with high thinking, not complicated life with no time to think. And your consciousness will be very elevated. And because of that divine consciousness, be it British, American, German, Chinese, Russian, Zulu. We have lots of Zulus. Many of my disciples are Zulus, wonderful devotees. Moment of death, back home, back to the spiritual world. And Krishna says, having once gone there, you never come back to London again. So we'll sing again, okay, the proof of the pudding. Don't just lick the jar. Chant. I'm going to take some medicine here. I sang this morning for an hour and a half. Almost lost my voice. So let's just practice. Practice makes perfect. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hey, I was recently in Moscow. They did better. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
You're wonderful people. You're beautiful people. Thank you for listening to me for so long. I'm very grateful. And I hope you can come back here again and again, because I'm going to come back every year. So I hope you also come back. So thank you. Hare Krishna. Now, it's always good if someone gives you something very precious, you have to say thank you, right? If you don't say thank you, then you can't expect you're going to get something from that person again. My mom taught me that, I remember. I'm talking a lot about my mom tonight. Anyway, my mom, actually my mom was a scientist, and she was an atheist, and when I joined the movement, she went bonkers. She said, son, what happened to you? I used to tell you to cut your hair. Now you shaved it all off and you're wearing a dress. And she just couldn't, we argued and for years and years. But she was my mom, so every year on my birthday, May 20th, I'd send her 24 red roses. She'd always write back, son, it's your birthday. Why are you sending me roses? Hey, Mom, you did all the hard work. You carried me for 9 months. You changed 9 nappies. You tolerated my teenage years and like that. So we were close. And then, but she would just never, there's no soul. There's no God, son. It's all illusion. Mom, and don't even talk about it, boy. So a few years ago, I was here in London, actually, and I got a phone call at 2:30 in the morning. It was my mom. And she said, son, I want to go to India. I said, what? I want to go to Vrindavan, which is where Krishna appeared, I said, Mom, because she had a drinking problem. I said, you've been drinking? No, you've been drinking. No, Mom, you're always teasing me. And no, I want to go to Vrindavan. I said, Mom, look, get sober. And when I get up, it was in the morning at 6, I'll give you a call. I hung up on her. I regret it now. But I got up, I took a shower, did my meditation, called the number, and my brother answered the phone. I said, Peter, let me speak to Mom. There was a silence. Peter, let me speak to Mom. Silence. Peter, he said, Mom just died. What? Mother just died. I just talking to her. No, she died. She had cancer. I said, but she never told me that she had cancer. Why didn't she tell me? He said, well, she didn't want to disturb the good work you're doing. And wait a minute, Mom never thought I did any good work. She thought I was crazy. So what happened? He said, well, you know, when she learned she had fourth stage cancer and there was no cure or anything, she used to sit out on the deck and just rock and think. She was Phi Beta Kappa from Stanford University, intelligent woman. And she said to me one day, to my brother, she said, it doesn't make sense. I just don't feel I'm going to die. I feel I must go on after death. And that's something your big brother used to talk about, right? So she said, I used to send her books. She'd just throw them in the garage and they'd get grease. She said to my brother, go in the garage and get a bag of AGD. So, and she said, it's a holy book, clean it. My brother was shocked because he knew Mom was a scientist, you know. So he cleaned her up. And he said, my mom, for the last 6 months of her life, she'd in the rocking chair, she'd read Bhagavad Gita. Perfect questions, perfect answers. That was answering her questions. And I saw that book later on. It had those highlighters, the green, the yellow. Ask Brian this, ask Brian that, you know, like that. But she didn't want to disturb me. So I said, really? She said, yeah. And she did a funny thing. She heard that you have a tape ministry. And she told me one day, go and buy 500 of your big brother's lectures and let me listen to them. So he did it, you know, and he got her, like, you know, whatever, you know, machine techniques that she could learn, had the headphones. He said she'd sit for hours a day and listen to my lectures. And she'd write down, ask Brian this, ask Brian that, etc., etc. I said, why, Mom never told me? She didn't want to disturb your good work. So I said, you know, because I was talking about how important it is our consciousness at the moment of death, we had to be prepared. So I said, did she say anything when she died? She said, yes, she's still in my arms. And she said when she died, Peter, don't lament for me. I'm not this body. I'm a spirit soul. I'm going to Krishna. Well, no. My mom. See the power of this philosophy, the power of this mantra? She became transformed. Staunch atheist, staunch, you know, but by reading the book, she became convinced, and she was chanting Hare Krishna. So it purified her. So at the moment of death, Krishna. And if you have that consciousness, you know, I'm still struggling after 54 years. My mom's already there. So I went home. We didn't have enough money for, a celebration or anything, a memorial, but I had some money. I had $800. I went to the funeral home to pay for the cremation. And I said to the man, you know, I've come all the way from London. I want to take my mom's ashes. He said, oh, gosh, he said, I'm sorry. We cremated her, but she wanted to be her ashes scattered in the ocean. This was many years ago. She wrote her will. We forgot to do it. So you don't have to pay for anything. We'll do it tomorrow. You don't have to pay for the cremation. You keep your money, and we'll do it tomorrow. So give me the ashes. So they gave me the ashes, and I went to the airport, and I bought a ticket, because I have a 10-year visa to India. I bought a ticket to India, and I just had a little bag. I didn't plan to travel. And I flew to Delhi, and I went to Vrindavan. My mom would say Vrindavan, and I went to the sacred Jamuna River, like the Ganges is sacred. And I waited out in the middle. I had my mom's ashes, and with tears in my eyes, I was pouring the ashes into the river. Mom, your last request to me as your oldest son was to come to Vrindavan. Here you are. When I put the ashes into the river and did my duty as her son. And then I walked a little further down the river to a place called Keshigarh. And that urn was a silver urn that she'd, that they put her ashes in. I just left it in the river. I came down to Keshigat and I'm sitting there chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, just trying to get some deeper realizations. And the urn starts to float by. And there's a yogi sitting next to me. He goes, and he runs out, he swims out and he gets the urn, cuts some fruit up and starts eating out of the... And I was thinking, she was doing service to a sadhu. We call that sadhu seva. If you serve a holy person, you get so many blessings. So I'm thinking, wow, my mom, I said, I hope I'm as fortunate as her, that all these blessings happen at the end of her life, simply because at the very end, she took up reading Bhagavad Gita and chanting Hare Krishna. Just imagine what would happen if you, most of you are young, if you start chanting Hare Krishna, make an experiment, and you start reading Bhagavad Gita, where you'll be when you're my age, 77. You can give this lecture. You can chant Hare Krishna, and you could help others on this transcendental path back home, back to Godhead. Okay, so let's celebrate. Life is meant to be this type of celebration. Before we sing, we always say thank you to the incarnation of Krishna, who appeared in this age, Lord Chaitanya. We sing some prayers to him, and then we'll sing Hare Krishna. Okay? Hare Krishna. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, oh, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yebo! Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, hey! Yuga Dharma. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, yeah!
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Whoa! Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey! Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, hey, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram. Go, go. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram. Woo! Visitai Gaur Prem 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 Premanande. Oh, Prem Prem Premanande. Jai Jai Sri Radhe. Jai Jai Sri Radhe.